Hi, Dan. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the show site RingReady Facebook Live. It's Wednesday, the 21st of July, 2021. And I don't know if Dan dropped off. I think we're used to that, and he'll be right back. All right. So today, what are we going to talk about, Dan?
Hi, everyone. Welcome to RingReady Live, the home of the owner handler, brought to you by Showsite Magazine. I am, not surprisingly, the late Dan Sayers, here with Lee Whittier, the dog show mentor. And Lee, today we're going to take a little twist on our show because for episode 17, we are going to be, how do I say this? We're going to be asking for a little more input from our viewers. So up to
We're
this
going to turn
point,
the tables on them, aren't we?
we're going to turn the tables, exactly. So for the past 16 weeks, we have been sharing topics from your perspective, Lee, as a judge. So today, we want to hear from you, the owner handler, and what do you want in a judge? So we've been, I guess we're going to focus today on you as a competitor and what you look for when you are selecting the judging panel. So you've got choices and opportunities as to whom you're going to be showing your dog to. Some of those judges may be breeder judges, some may be all rounders, but there are so many facets that we as owner handlers have to consider when we decide who we give our entry to. So more than ever today, we want to hear from you. So owner handlers, let us know where you're from. Let us know your breed. Let us know how long you've been an owner handler. And today, most importantly, let us know what you want from a judge.
That's
So
right.
again, Lee, this is the owner handler's half hour. Sit back, disconnect, if you will. You have my undivided attention, and you've got the expertise of Lee. And the two of us have you who are going to inform us what you look for in a breeder judge. So, Lee, before we get to the topic today, last week I was flying solo, and you are literally flying from Washington State or from the West Coast to New England. So tell us about your weekend. How were the shows, and what did you do? What kind of dogs did you find?
Everything was fantastic and absolutely perfect. 14 years ago, I was the show chair for the Woodstock Dog Club for 14 years before that. So that 14 is the magic number for that club. And the show chair and show committee, I had turned it over to a woman named Adrian, and she has done a phenomenal job of making it a fun, interesting, and excellent show site and experience for the judges, for the exhibitors, and for the show committee. And I think, I don't know which is more of a highlight, the show site or the ice cream social during group time. And I'm so excited about it. I want to do it at my show. So thank you, Adrian, for introducing me to that. And I'd heard about it before from some other clubs, but I never had the experience. And even not being a big ice cream person, it was so much fun to say, there's ice cream over there.
We're all kids at heart, right? When we hear the name, the words ice cream, somehow we all get happier. Even those of us who are lactose intolerant, still, the thought of ice cream makes us happy. So to have that offered at a show just sounds like a wonderful idea, a wonderful way for everybody to have fun.
And I just want to hop in here and say that Sarah Wade is saying she has a Beef and Hounds owner handler for 2 years. Try to find a sighthound judge or judges who are familiar with sighthounds and primitive breeds. They show and behave differently than, say, working and herding breeds. Thank you for that very interesting insight, Sarah, into what you're looking for. Um, and we can come back. I don't want to miss any of these comments. We can come back to Vermont later because it was just fabulous. But
Great. Well, thank you
here,
for sharing that.
um,
Let's jump right in, Lee. Some of these comments are terrific. Kristen says that she's been an owner handler for 2.5 years, but because of COVID, she was in the ring about 12. I'm not sure, Kristen, that I understand 12, but we're glad that you have returned to the ring. Lee, let's not waste any time and let's just jump right into this. So I know that you've heard from a few folks about what they look for in a judge, and some of those people are Jean Marie and Julia. I don't know if you are prepared to share some of their thoughts, or if you want to tackle Sarah's comment here and now, or I see that we're getting some others from Jenna. Hi, Jenna, and Anne also has a comment saying that Salukis are not labs and shouldn't be expected to be happy
right, that's
and
right.
showy. So what I'm hearing from Sarah and from Anne and from Jenna is that their breeds are unique, aren't they? That what they're looking for, it sounds like, are judges that understand their breed's uniqueness.
And what I'd like to do is read a couple of these because they drop off.
Okay.
So Jenna says, I'm new, so I don't have a preference for a judge. I'm open to learning the different styles as I watch their judging style in the ring before going in and learning about them after I show to them. Wow, Jenna, that's an awesome attitude, and that is what I call a growth mindset. So bravo to you. And we can go back because it's slowed down a little bit. There's some that I missed, and I apologize to the one that we had from Sarah. And what I hear from people is, I want a judge that's good with puppies. I see that a lot. Is this person good with puppies? And and I'm curious, folks, what do you mean by that? Do you mean do they demand that the dogs stand for exam like a special? Do you mean that they are wiggly? Do you mean that their puppy might be fearful? What do you mean by the term good with puppies? And I like to think I'm good with puppies because I'm a breeder, right? I love puppies and I like them to be wiggly, and I'm fine with that. I want to see that tail going in. But if they don't, like a lot of Doberman people, they want their dogs to just stand. Julia says it's a good idea to keep a judge's book and put notes in there after each show. Absolutely. And for those of you who are computer savvy, you could also do an Excel spreadsheet, which is what I recommend to people who are in it for the long term.
I would imagine, Lee, that as a member of Dog Show Mentor, you encourage, or maybe you even mandate, if you will, that spreadsheet. That your members, your members are in class when they're talking to the Dog Show Mentor. Am I right about that?
Well, actually, I let people do it in how it works for them. I tell them,
Okay.
here's how I think you should do it. But you're all adults, so we're talking about adult learning here. And
Right.
Susan, welcome back. Yes, starting to make a habit of these Wednesdays. I'm so glad. All right. Linda says, I think they need. People are going so fast, I can't read these.
Yeah.
So some of them are dropping off, but maybe our producer, Alex, could help us with a little strip across the bottom and help us capture some of these.
Yes, I see that Linda is emphasizing soft hands on a judge. Hands are so important for puppies, for young dogs, even for, specials with a nervous handler. The hands of a judge really matter. Lee, can you talk a little bit about a judge's hands?
I can, and it's really interesting. I had one of my stewards said to me a couple of weeks ago. She said, I was watching you, and you're just as soft-handed with an Akita as you are with a Chihuahua. And I said, well, yeah, but some people have what we call hammer hands,
Mm-hmm.
and you can see that from outside the ring. And if you have a really sensitive puppy, that's probably not. You should probably walk away from that ring. So for me, it's really easy because it just comes naturally with me. Other judges have to practice, and that's okay. But I think most judges are good with puppies. Most judges like puppies, love puppies, and have a gentle hand. I think it's the anomaly of people who don't.
Yeah, I think as you said, we're all dog people and puppies, what could be better than to have a puppy in your ring? Karen is asking something, or if I can just read this to you, Lee. Karen says, I know judges are rushed and are at the max amount of dogs they can judge. However, please, please, please slow down in your judging. Some of the judges barely touch the dogs. So that's a little other than a soft touch. They just want it to be done. She's saying that that's what Karen has experienced lately. I would imagine you've got something to share about.
I sure do. So last weekend I had 175 dogs, 174 dogs each day. And AKC expects us to stay on time. And when I say on time, I'm thinking at the end of the day, if I'm give or take 10 minutes, I'm on time. And I get in the zone, right, Karen? It's like a handler that you're supposed to be getting in the zone with your dog. Well, I get in the zone with my judging where I feel like I know what I'm looking for. I know the breed. I don't have to overthink this. In some cases, the decisions are difficult because the dogs are good. And in some cases, decisions are difficult because the dogs aren't as high a quality. But you're lucky then, right? If a decision is difficult. I think I have seen some judges barely touch the dogs. I find that dogs, I want to put my hands on a dog because I want to feel the muscle. I want to feel the muscle tone. If it's a terrier, I want to feel if that back is really hard-coated terrier. I want to feel if that back is really level, or if it's got some dips and bumps in it. So I like to touch the dogs, but and people have said to me, "Boy, there's not a place on this dog that you haven't touched." Yeah, okay, but I go pretty fast. I don't need to linger, and for some dogs, it's better not to linger.
Yes.
They're good on the first part of it, but don't stay too long, particularly young dogs. Other dogs are wiggly, and it's fine. So I hope that answers that question and addresses that well.
It does indeed. Renee is saying that she's a proud owner handler of a Chesapeake Bay Retriever. And for Renee as a rookie, she appreciates a judge who is patient and kind to an obvious new handler and will put up a good dog and an inexperienced handler. So, Lee, as a judge, can you recognize the novice, the inexperienced handler? Is there a way that if she's entering her dog to you and she's nervous or just inexperienced, but she sought you out? I don't know, how do you handle that? You just finished saying that you're deliberate and you're not rushed, but you managed to go over the dog. But maybe she's looking for just a little reassurance for herself and her dog, since the two of them are so new to this.
I don't think they're mutually exclusive, right? They're not mutually exclusive. You can be kind to the handler, and if someone looks particularly catatonic, I'll take a moment and say, "Are you nervous?" And he'll be like, "Yeah." And I say, like, "Okay, well, let's just take a minute to notice that and say, it's okay to be nervous. Yep. It really is okay. You're going to do fine. Just do what you remember doing in class. Do your best, follow my instructions." And most of the time, if I just say those few words, people relax enough to do a creditable job. There you go. And Karen says she sees them waiting for 10 minutes for the next ring time. And that's true. And that's not just because they've gone fast. Sometimes we have absentees. And last weekend I had a lot of absentees, so I was ahead almost every segment. But it was due to absentees, not that I wasn't watching the dogs. And so yeah, so that can happen. That can happen for a number of reasons, right?
Indeed. Jennifer is asking, do you recommend that the owner handler tell the judge that you are a new exhibitor? Does that happen, Lee?
I mean, you can. If you feel proud of it, then go ahead and say, "Hey, this is my first time in the ring." Sometimes I look at people and they say it's the first time in the ring, and I sort of doubt it. You know? maybe it's the first time in the AKC ring, but you know, they're pretty good. They're pretty good for first timers, and maybe they're just talented handlers, right?
Yeah,
Hi,
or maybe
Brie.
yeah, maybe it's the first time that their dog is in the ring. I don't know, but yeah.
Bree says, I did this past weekend because I was so nervous. Good for you. I hope you were proud, because if it's your first time, particularly, it's the first day of the rest of your life in dogs. And it is a day to remember. It truly is. And write it down in your calendar. Write it in your journal.
Yes, and Bree, I hope that your first experience showing a dog was positive and wonderful. And I would assume that it is. You're here with us today. Thank you for joining us. We love to hear about new owner handlers having a good experience at a dog show. Bree, that's great. The judge that you showed your dog to was very kind and helpful. I'm not surprised, Lee. I think a lot of exhibitors would be surprised to learn that judges are dog people just like themselves, that they want to be helpful, and they want you, the owner handler, to have a good experience. You know, they want you to come prepared, but they also want it to be a pleasant experience for you and your dog. Megan says that as a sight hound exhibitor, she appreciates a judge who does take the time to understand that some sight hounds do not appreciate being approached head on. She's seen many wonderful and patient judges with her hounds, and many others who took the time to appreciate the dog's nuances. Again, it gets back to that breed-specific approach from a judge that many of us look for. That's true for working and herding breeds, as it is for toy breeds, sight hounds, and so forth.
Yeah, and I want to address that, because I'm approved for the Ozawak, and one of the first things I was told was, they really don't like to be touched. So touch them as little as possible, and don't basically be critical of the fact that if they don't want to be touched. And so, and that's the way with sight hounds in general. It's, for me, that's not a deal breaker to have a dog that's, tense on the exam in some way. So thanks for bringing that up, Megan. That's absolutely true. And it is. I mean, for some breeds, we are a lot faster on the exam. I mean, if they have a lot of hair, it's a lot of hair to get through.
Yes. I want to mention that to everyone who's watching. If you go to showsightmagazine.com, if you look at, you can find all of our past issues as well as our current issue. You can find a breed magazine for each breed, every sighthound breed, every working breed, all breeds. And recently, I think it was in the June issue, we have interviews with sighthound judges, and it was very, very informative to read how they evaluate the sight hounds and what they look for and how they manage their ring and the dogs in the ring. There was also an interview with a breeder of Ozawaks in that issue. Very, very informative. So I encourage everyone to go check those out. I see that we're hearing from Gretchen.
I'm reading that now. Yeah. I mean, if you learn to judge poodles, you learn how to get through the coat, and it's not unapparent. So don't be concerned, no matter the clip, as long as the clip is to standard. We do get through the codes. Yeah.
Poodles would be a breed where there are a lot of judges who have experience with that breed. They have either bred them, handled them, or they have had their hands on the greats in that breed throughout the years. So I think it's important to understand who those judges are. If poodle is your breed, there may be some judges that are really going to understand that coat and how to examine a dog through that coat.
So I want to remind people that what we're asking you is what you want in a judge, not what you don't want. And also, we love your questions and we're happy to answer them, but we're going to answer first, what do you want in a judge? What's important to you? What makes you decide to enter or not enter? And because we want to hear from you. You've been hearing from us. We'd like to hear from you.
Exhibitors today, Lee, are fortunate in that they can go online, and see what the judges have done in their breed. Okay. Not only last weekend, but for the past 10, or so years, even longer. And, if you know those dogs that they've put up, you can, that informs you as an exhibitor, and to realize, hey, I have a similar style dog of this breed, and that judge seems to reward this style. Maybe I'll give that judge my entry. There's so much information that's available today that wasn't available to owner handlers, Lee, back when you and I started, judging. We really had to kind of sit and watch. Now there's so much information, and now there are formats like this where we can actually talk about, the subjects of like, what do we want from a judge? It's really important as an owner handler to know your judges. Because you're taking time, you're investing in your dog, and you're paying the entry, and you certainly want to feel as though you've got your dog in front of a judge who's giving you every consideration.
I would agree, yeah. Lena says that we can feel free to educate you during your time in the ring. And sometimes we do that, but really that's not part of the AKC format. And Brie says she would have liked to have a report card. And again, the report card is where the judge places your dog. And so, and some judges are perfectly willing to answer questions about what they did, and others not so much. So, if that's important to you, then you need to know who those judges are.
That's right.
Margarita says, in my breed, I usually watch to see what type the judge is looking for. Well, that's a good way to do it.
Yeah, and her breed chows, they come in a variety, different coat types and different styles for sure. Margarita, thank you for that. You had also expressed your desire that judges introduce themselves before they just grab the head on the dog. Lee, I have judged sweepstakes and matches, and I found that I like to introduce myself to the exhibitor just to say good morning to the person in an effort to kind of set the dog at ease. And the handler as well. I feel that just by saying good morning, that seems to often relax both handler and dog.
Absolutely. And particularly if I have an entry of guardian breeds with working breeds, I will walk the line. I'll stand back and I'll look at the lineup, and then I'll walk the line and say good morning. Because that way the dog knows I'm there. Mm-hmm. And if they have any training at all, they know that I'm the person then who's going to be touching them. And I think it just gives them that segue in between standing in the middle of the ring, watching them go around, and then going up to the first dog. And it usually doesn't take too much time to do that.
Right. Melissa, if I may, I just want to verbalize what she wrote. Most of all, I like a judge where I can follow their choices, whether I win or lose. Melissa, thank you for that. You deserve a little sticker for that comment because Lee,
Right.
isn't that really what it's all about? Following the judge, and whether you win or lose, you understand that that judge gave your entry and every entry consideration that day. I love that.
All right. And Linda says she wants one that smiles and looks like they enjoy what they're doing. As you learn and watch over some time and see judges multiple times, I like a judge that you can see what they look for, consistency in their judging. Yeah, I have to say I'm accused of that a little bit. And, and I love my judging. And Ray says to create an enjoyable experience. How nice. I like that too.
For sure. I judged the sweepstakes, and in between classes, I had a someone in the club come up and ask me to smile. They said I was scowling, and that surprised me because I was having the time of my life. I was
But you were
so in my element,
concentrating, right? You were
but I
concentrating.
realized that I wasn't sort of giving that
Yeah.
impression.
I think we have time for one more, Dan. And Megan has said, has posted. Can you read that?
Yeah, so judges should be one, friendly to exhibitors, two, gentle and patient with dogs. And she understands that proper preparation by both the dog and the exhibitor is important. Three, consistency in placement. She likes to understand the judge's placements, even if they have placed a class differently. This helps her to understand what is important in that judge. And that is so very true. Again, thank you for that. It's really important to be a good student and to really be paying attention to these sorts of things because, Lee, not all judges are created equal. You know, some judges are breeder judges, some are all rounders. You know, some get reputations too. They're a movement judge, they're a headhunter, or they are, God forbid, a handler's judge. And a lot of times those reputations are just false, but if you really pay attention and take your role as an owner handler seriously and do your homework on these judges that you are giving your entry to, not only are you going to be a more successful owner handler and your dog's going to win more, but you're going to have a lot of fun. And before you know it, you're going to be a very, very savvy competitor.
Well, I just want to add one comment before we close on that thing, and that is be careful about making assumptions about your judges. And here's why. I had an interesting conversation with an exhibitor last week about what I was looking for in her breed. And she said to me, I looked you up and you're from working and you have some sporting. And she said, but you didn't really judge like a working judge. And I said, well, and I couldn't tell whether that was a good thing or not, right? And so I said, well, what do you mean? And she said, well, you're really looking at the head and details. And I said, well, I'm often thought of more to come from toys, even though I've never owned a toy breed. And we laughed about that. And so I think that even though we are using social media, we're using histories of judges on online forums like different superintendents, looking up their histories. Be careful about looking up a judge and saying, oh, it's a Great Dane judge. It's going to have heavy hands, or it's a Great Dane judge. It's going to judge movement, or it's, whatever, right? Be careful about making assumptions. You have to use that in conjunction with the other information that you have and not just make assumptions for generalizing. How's that?
Yes. What do they say about people that assume? I won't share it here, but I think a lot of us know that expression. And, that was wonderful that you were able to have that conversation with that exhibitor.
Yes.
Lee, I know that you are planning to offer another special master class for owner handlers with you, the dog show mentor. Can you share a bit of information about that?
I am, and it's called Owner Handlers, Do You Compete Like an Olympian? And we're going to talk about what kind of very in detailed preparation Olympians use, and more to the point of what kind of detailed preparation you're going to do to get your dog and you and yourself ready for the ring. It's August 10th, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, and there will be a link shortly. I will send it out by email. I will post it on the Dog Show Mentor Owner Handlers Facebook page, and there will be a discount code posted. So if you're not a member of the Dog Show Mentor Owner Handlers Facebook page yet, come and join us. And I hope that I'll get to see you August 10th at that masterclass.
I'll be joining you, Lee, and I encourage everyone to enter and join Lee's class as well. It's going to be very informative and a lot of fun. And I also want to remind everyone that there are still some advertising opportunities for owner handlers in the coming issue. So please reach out to Megan Parati TG, and she is Megan, MEEGAN, at showsitemagazine.com, and she'll be happy to help you out. And I also want to let everyone know that we're going to have a very interesting show next week at 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific. Lee, you're going to be reporting live from a dog show, from your club show. I think some of our viewers know that Lee is, in addition to being the dog show mentor and a multi-group judge, she's also a show chair of an all-breed club, and Lee, I believe, of a terrier club as well, limited breed club. But next week, tell us a little bit, if you will, where you're going to be. And I want to let everyone know that our topic will be titled Show Chairs Never Sit. And you're going to help us all understand what it is a show chair does and why you're not only so important to the running and the management of a show, but that you've got an entire army of people who are supporting you.
You know, a show chair could never do it without their committee. The committee is the most important thing. And that committee is also comprised of stewards. Really important. So next week is the Terrier Association of Oregon, in conjunction with Combined Specialties, for the rescheduled Rose City cluster, which is the Rose City Cowboy Cluster. And we will be having a cowboy theme. And we are going to be having some fun with that theme next week. I will be live, so hopefully we'll have good internet down there. I think we do. And maybe we'll get a chance to meet some other show chairs of specialties there while we're live.
Well, thank you for letting us know that you're going to be on location next week. We're all looking forward to that. There's a lot that we're going to learn, I have no doubt. And I would imagine that depending on what's happening in the moment, you may be focused on one problem or another. You know, those of us who just enter our dog and show and go, we have no idea really the absolute essential role that a show chair and the committee members play at every show that we go to. So that's going to be interesting and a lot of fun. And I encourage everyone to come back next week. I want to thank you all on behalf of Lee and myself for your participation today. We apologize if we weren't able to get to all of your comments, but rest assured that we see them and that we see you, and that we are genuinely happy that you are a part of our community. Lee, one last thing before we go, remind everyone how they can find the Dog Show Mentor. Where do they find you? How do they become a member?
Where do they find me? Dogshowmentor.com, and you can get information on that Facebook page, on that website, about the program, and I hope that you'll ask me about membership.
I encourage everyone to become a member, and I also encourage you to visit RingReady at showsiteMagazine.com. On our website, you're going to find all of our shows. You're going to find the articles that Lee and I write for RingReady each month. You're also going to find the entire edition of all of our magazines and a breed magazine for each and every breed. So whatever your breed is, whether it's Azawak or Whippet, you're going to find information there that has appeared in Showsite Magazine and in RingReady, and a lot of information that is available to you online, prepared by experts in your breed, whether that is a breeder, a judge, an exhibitor, and it's all there for you 24/7. So we want to thank you again for joining us. This has been an especially fun show. We're going to look forward to next week, which is going to be fun as well. Lee, I may show up in a cowboy hat for the Western theme. I'm not so sure. But until then, I want to remind everyone to come back and visit us, and remember to have fun with your dogs.
See you in the winner's circle.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody.